Spirituality and psychosis are two sides of the same coin. They occur both when your thoughts are untethered from reality. Now, due to a thing called duality, everything has an opposing force. Our soul is no different. There is a force of good and there's a force of bad in there, and there's light and dark. And tapping into the light is kind of usually called a spiritual awakening. Tapping into that negative energy is called psychosis. So, what is the difference, and how can we tell if we're going crazy or if we are just having a spiritual awakening? Well, that's a very good question, because there really is no way to prove one way or another. Probably to a scientific mind, no matter what, you'd be going crazy if you start hearing voices in your head. Think of it, okay, so your identity is built upon all of your experiences in life. We don't know our true selves without being connected with others. This is why being in solitary confinement is considered torture, because you're in there, and usually when you're in solitary confinement, it is a negative situation going on in your life anyway. So it's almost like having a bad trip. So psychedelic drugs can be either enlightening or horrifying, depending on the outside sources that are kind of drawing your energy in. So if you're drawing that negative energy in, let's say you tried to take a psychedelic drug when you were grieving the loss of a loved one, that is going to lead to almost definitely a bad trip, unless you are so far above, have the only way to truly wade through these waters safely is to have a tether to them and to keep a tether. And the only way to do that is to have the wisdom that comes with age and experience. And it takes a lot of it to kind of find your way back to reality. If you are comfortable that, hey, I'm going to find my way back to reality and just enjoy the ride and enjoy the experience while it's happening, then you will have a good, awakening. Or you will have, if you can't, you will have psychosis. And the same with the psychedelic drugs. You will have a bad trip, most likely, if you are just living in a kind of hellscape in your own mind. Our identity is built over time, as I said, with these experiences. So it really is important for most of us to find out who we truly are without any of those attachments, without that constant societal influence on us. And this is why there's the story of the Native Americans who used to go on their spirit quests, and there was a story of, almost every religion you can think of, and mythology and everything, the people would travel alone into the wilderness to find themselves, a spiritual journey. Well, this is very important for us to do as we get older. When we're too young and we don't have the wisdom to find our way back to reality, this can be very dangerous. And I understand there are definitely exceptions to that rule, because facing your fears is a positive thing too. And if you face your fears, like let's say you have a bad trip and you face what looks like death to you, and just the most terrifying things you can possibly imagine, then you're going to ultimately have a good experience because of the bad experience. It's going to be an enlightening experience, just not in the same way, because you must wade through hell to get to heaven. Now, the reason for this, the reason why we go through this kind of psychosis or spiritual awakening, mainly the psychosis. Okay, so let's deal with that first. The psychosis is your ego and all your emotions scratching and clawing and screaming to keep control. They will do anything to keep control of you because that's what they've always done. That's what they've done since you were a child. Why would they not? They don't know what to do if they're not in charge. That's why it's so hard to stop living an ego-driven life. We need our egos and we need our emotions, and we need them because we have to live in this world. We have to get up and get cleaned and groomed, put our clothes on, and at least conform to the very basics of societal norms. But if you see a crazy person, they might be walking around with no pants on, muttering to themselves. That is because they got lost in psychosis. And being lost in a spiritual awakening is much different, because to have a spiritual awakening, a positive one, you must have the wisdom. Without that wisdom, it's more likely to be psychosis than spiritual awakening. And with that, it's really hard to explain. Let's see, I'm going to take a break real quick. Okay, I'm sorry. I had some people walking by, and I didn't want to look like that person going through psychosis over here, talking to myself about this stuff. See, that's my ego. My ego's telling me, hey, shut the hell up, all these people are passing there. You're just going to look completely insane, even though you have a phone in front of you. If they hear what you're saying. But those are the type of things that keep us grounded, okay? That only comes with age, but that can also be a very negative thing, because that can lead to low self-confidence. Our ego will take such control and tell yourself that, it's in charge, and you are not worthy to be in charge, because there's nothing more to you. Well, you think you're something special? No, I'm the special one here. I'm going to keep control so people don't think you're some kind of raving lunatic walking around. Well, that's the problem right there. You have to battle your ego. You have to battle your fears. You have to battle all these negative things to get a positive experience and turn what would be psychosis into an awakening. And I'm not going to get into enlightenment in here, because enlightenment is a whole step above all of that. That is when I believe God speaks directly to you and you start understanding his message. But right now, what is my definition of a spiritual awakening and psychosis is a peek into the kind of spiritual realm. And you may not understand anything about it. You won't get a whole lot from it, maybe, because you're just kind of glimpsing into there, but you will be changed by it because you have seen that. And you can lie to yourself and say, oh, I didn't really see that. That was just me being crazy, or just some stray thought or hallucination, maybe. You can lie to yourself however you want. Those untethered thoughts are the ones that free you. And until you embrace them while having the wisdom to keep your feet on the ground, then you will never be truly free. You'll never truly know yourself. You'll never truly be able to love and have empathy for others, because you'll always be driven by that ego that keeps you from exploring that side of yourself. Okay, I want to do more on this another time, but have more people walking by, so I'm going to cut it short today. But that's just kind of like an introduction on my thoughts into spirituality versus psychosis. God bless.